Have you ever seen a locomotive so rare that there's only one in the entire world? Or a machine so legendary it's still remembered today as the fastest steam engine to ever touch the rails? Throughout history, some locomotives have gone beyond transportation. They became symbols of power, innovation, and bold engineering. Built in a time when every bolt, every weld, and every puff of steam marked human progress. Some of these iron giants were saved by collectors. Others survive only in photographs, blueprints, or memories. But all of them have one thing in common. They're absolutely one of a kind. You're about to discover the 10 rarest and most legendary steam locomotives the world has ever seen. Stick around, because the final one on this list will absolutely blow your mind. GWR 4073 Castle Class. Launched in 1923 by Great Western Railway in the United Kingdom, the Castle Class was built to meet the rising demand for faster, more reliable express trains between Britain's major cities. Designed by engineer Charles Collett, this series quickly stood out for its perfect balance of elegance, power, and efficiency during the golden age of British rail. The Castle Class featured a 4-cylinder steam engine with cross-compound expansion, powered by a high-pressure boiler generating over 3,000 horsepower. That allowed it to reach speeds of up to 90 miles per hour, 145 kilometers per hour, with acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over a minute. Stunning numbers for the 1920s. It ran on a 4/6-0 wheel configuration, with 6 drive wheels that gave it solid traction and smooth handling on the rails. The suspension used helical coil and leaf springs to absorb track imperfections, while the manual gearbox, standard for steam locomotives, demanded perfect coordination between the driver and the fireman. Visually, the Castle Class was unmistakable. Its deep green paint, gold lining, and royal crests made it look regal on the rails. And the rhythmic clanking of the side rods, paired with the sharp whistle and the roar of escaping steam, turned every pass into a show. These locomotives dominated express routes from London to the southwest of England, often pulling luxury trains like the Cornish Riviera Express. They were a true symbol of prestige and punctuality when train travel was still a grand event. Today, only a few units remain, preserved in museums or operating on heritage railways. One of them even pulled the royal family's train during a tour of Canada, a testament to its legacy and honor. If that kind of refinement and history already caught your attention, just wait, the next one takes power and presence to a whole new level. LMS Coronation Class 6220. In 1937, the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, LMS, introduced the Coronation Class to the world. It was a statement, a response to the coronation of King George VI, and a direct challenge to the high-speed advances of LMS's main rival, the LNER. The very first unit, numbered 6220, Coronation, was a masterpiece of British railway engineering. Behind its sleek, futuristic design was a 3-cylinder steam engine producing about 3,300 horsepower, with boiler pressure around 250 psi. That pushed the locomotive to top speeds of 112 miles per hour, 180 kilometers per hour, and it could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 50 seconds, surprisingly quick for a machine of that size. It had a 4/6-2 Pacific wheel layout, optimized for high-speed stability. Rear-wheel drive and reinforced coil suspension ensured smooth rides even on steeper grades or tighter curves. The manual controls required experienced hands, especially at full speed or in complex terrain. What truly set the Coronation Class apart was its bold visual design. The early batch wore a striking blue paint scheme with silver stripes, inspired by luxury trains of the time and echoing the royal theme. A fully streamlined shroud helped reduce air resistance and gave the engine an imposing modern look. It turned heads even when parked. Built for routes like London to Glasgow, it hauled some of the most prestigious trains of the era, including the Coronation Scot. Its success raised the bar for British express services and fueled the fierce rivalry between railway companies in the UK. Though only a few survive today, the 6220 Coronation remains a celebrated piece of railway history. And here's a curious detail. During its first test run, it unofficially broke the British steam speed record, but the press was barred from reporting it, likely to avoid stirring competition with the LNER. Elegance, speed, and fierce rivalry define this steel beast. But the next locomotive on our list, get ready, because the power is about to cross the Atlantic, and things are only going to get more extreme. Norfolk and Western 611. Built in 1950 in the United States, the Norfolk and Western 611 is one of the last steam locomotives ever made for regular passenger service, and one of the most advanced of its kind. Manufactured at the Roanoke shops in Virginia by the Norfolk and Western Railway itself, the 611 is part of the legendary J-Class, an icon of American railroading that combined brute strength with aerodynamic beauty. Beneath its elegant shroud sat a 3-cylinder steam engine with a boiler pressure of 300 psi, generating over 5,100 horsepower. It could reach speeds of over 110 miles per hour, 180 kilometers per hour, and accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 45 seconds. Incredible for a locomotive weighing more than 485,000 pounds. Its 4/8-4 configuration provided excellent traction, with 8 massive driving wheels and a balanced frame for high-speed stability. Rear-wheel drive and heavy-duty coil suspension made it ideal for long-distance runs. Like all steam engines, it was manually operated, but here it required serious skill, especially when changing speeds or maintaining momentum on tough terrain. The 611 was a visual standout. Streamlined, jet black with red and gold accents, and fitted with a sleek, enclosed front pilot, it looked like something from a science fiction film, and when it powered up, the sound was unforgettable, a mix of elegance and raw energy, with a whistle that echoed across entire valleys. The 611 primarily served the route between Norfolk, Virginia and Cincinnati, Ohio, pulling the N&W's most prestigious passenger trains. Even as most railroads switched to diesel, the 611 kept steam alive with unmatched performance and reliability. And it's still alive today. After being retired and restored in the 1980s, the 611 returned once again in recent years, now operating in railfan events and public excursions. It's one of the very few fully operational steam locomotives in the US, and still capable of running at mainline speeds. Fun fact, in a 1984 demonstration run, the 611 reached speeds so high that the modern sensors on board had to be recalibrated, because engineers didn't expect a steam locomotive to ever reach those numbers. If you thought it was impressive to see a steam engine from 1950 still tearing down the rails, buckle up. The next one is faster, rarer, and nearly one of a kind. NAV 242.01. Built in 1936 in Hungary by the Budapest-based manufacturer Mavag, the MAV 242.01 is easily one of the rarest steam locomotives in the world. Only one unit was ever built. A true prototype designed to serve Hungary's national railway, MAV, on its fastest and most prestigious express routes. Under its striking blue and white streamlined body was a 2-cylinder steam engine with a boiler pressure of 275 psi, delivering around 2,300 horsepower. That was enough to propel the locomotive to a top speed of 94 miles per hour, 152 kilometers per hour, a remarkable figure for a locomotive under 100 tons. Built for curvy and hilly rail lines, it used an unusual 4/4-4 wheel configuration, with only 4 driving wheels and no rear support wheels, requiring careful engineering to maintain balance and speed. Manual controls demanded expert operation, especially during high-speed turns or quick throttle changes. The chassis was compact and the weight well distributed, allowing for fast acceleration and stable performance. Its reinforced leaf spring suspension and rear-wheel drive made it perfectly suited for Hungary's tight-radius rail network. And visually, the 242.01 was a showstopper. Smooth, rounded edges, a setback cab, and a bold royal blue finish with white stripes gave it a distinct and modern appearance. In motion, the clean hiss of the steam and sharp whistle made it instantly recognizable. This locomotive operated primarily between Budapest and Zagreb, serving elite passenger services and test runs. As a high-performance prototype, it became a benchmark for Hungarian locomotive development for years to come. Today, it's fully restored and preserved in working condition at the Hungarian Railway Museum, drawing visitors from around the world. And in a rare 1990s video, the 242.01 was recorded hitting over 75 miles per hour, 120 kilometers per hour. Proof that the fire in this legend hasn't faded. And if that blew your mind, get ready, because the next locomotive is a colossal American giant, built to conquer mountains with unmatched power and endurance. Union Pacific Challenger 3985. Unveiled in 1943, the Union Pacific Challenger 3985 was built by the American Locomotive Company, ALCO, to tackle one of the toughest challenges in U.S. railroading: hauling massive freight trains over the steep grades of the Rocky Mountains, and doing it fast. The 3985 featured an articulated four-cylinder steam engine with a boiler pressure of 280 psi, producing more than 6,000 horsepower. That was enough to push the massive locomotive to a top speed of 70 miles per hour, 112 kilometers per hour. Impressive considering its gigantic size and the tons of freight it often pulled. It could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 80 seconds, but what made it legendary was its relentless pulling power. It used a 4-6-6-4 wheel layout, 2 sets of 6 driving wheels, articulated for flexibility on tight curves, especially in mountainous regions. Full body traction and heavy-duty coil suspension meant it could take a beating and keep performing, no matter the terrain. Manual operation required a full team, often 2 or 3 crew members, to manage boiler pressure, braking, and water injection in perfect sync. It was truly a team effort on wheels. The Challenger was a steel wall in motion, over 120 feet long and weighing nearly 620,000 pounds. It dominated the tracks. Painted black with metallic details and twin headlights, it looked more like a mechanical beast than a train. The roar of the steam and pounding of the pistons were unforgettable, like thunder rolling through the valleys. Originally built for heavy freight runs across Wyoming, Utah, and Nebraska, the 3985 quickly earned a reputation as one of the most capable locomotives in America. But what made it truly legendary was its return to glory. In 1981, it was restored and brought back to service, becoming the largest operational steam locomotive in the world for decades. It toured the country, starred in historical events, and became a living icon of American rail heritage. And here's something you might not know. In 1990, Challenger 3985 pulled the legendary excursion train with over 30 cars on a special 5-state journey. The event was broadcast on national television and solidified the 3985's place in U.S. rail history. Enjoying this ride through the most legendary steam locomotives ever built? And get us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our deep dives into the world of extreme machines. Trust me, things are just heating up. DR-18201. If there was ever a steam locomotive that could be called the last breath of German steam innovation, it would be the DR-18201. Built in 1961 by the Deutsche Reichsbahn in East Germany. This machine was an experimental blend of components from older locomotives, crafted into a single high-speed marvel. And the results were so impressive that the 18201 still holds a title no other steam locomotive has ever taken. Fitted with a 3-cylinder steam engine and a boiler rated at 290 psi, the 18201 produced around 2,700 horsepower. But what made it truly famous was speed. During test runs, it reached a top speed of 113 miles per hour, 182 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest operational steam locomotive in the world, a record it still holds to this day. Its 462 Pacific wheel configuration featured massive 7.5-foot, 2.3-meter driving wheels, specially designed for high-speed travel. Rear-wheel drive and a manual transmission demanded precision, and the suspension was heavily reinforced with coil springs to keep the ride stable even above 100 miles per hour. practically unheard of in steam at the time. Visually, the 18201 is a masterpiece. With a long body, deep red paint, and black accents, it looked futuristic in an era of aging steam giants. Its high-pitched whistle, the crisp blast of steam, and the rapid spin of the huge rods in motion created a mesmerizing display. Initially built for high-speed testing, the locomotive performed so well that it was put into regular service on special and prestigious passenger trains in East Germany. After reunification, it was fully restored and continued to run in special events, becoming an ambassador of German steam technology into the modern era. Here's a little-known fact. During a commemorative run, the 18201 exceeded 105 miles per hour on an open public railway line, with passengers on board. Even experienced electric train operators were amazed by the stability and performance of this classic steam engine. With speed, elegance, and a unique legacy, the DR18201 proved that the steam era didn't end with a whisper. It left with a roar. And just when you thought it couldn't get bolder, the next locomotive is fire itself. Literally, a steam monster nicknamed the Red Devil, built to challenge everything we thought we knew about steam power. South African Railways Class 26 Red Devil. In 1981, long after most countries had retired their steam fleets, South Africa stunned the railway world by turning an old locomotive into one of the most powerful, efficient, and iconic steam engines ever built. Enter the Class 26 Red Devil, a bold engineering experiment led by British-born engineer David Wardale, who wanted to prove that steam was far from obsolete. Built from a heavily modified Class 25 NC, the Red Devil featured a 3-cylinder steam engine and boiler pressure of 250 psi, producing a staggering 4,000 horsepower, an unheard-of figure for a one-off steam locomotive. It could reach a top speed of 96 miles per hour, 155 kilometers per hour, and accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in around 50 seconds. Numbers comparable to modern diesel electrics. Its 484-wheel layout gave it massive traction and stability, with improved rear drive and reinforced coil spring suspension. Wardale added a range of thermal and mechanical upgrades, including better fuel and water efficiency, a new exhaust system, and improved lubrication, all of which boosted performance far beyond what anyone expected, and it looked like a beast. Bright red with black and gray trim. The Red Devil earned its name not just from its paint job, but from its aggressive performance and wild, jet-like exhaust. The re-engineered blast pipe produced vertical plumes of steam, and its deep, thunderous whistle could be heard from miles away. Primarily used on long-haul and test runs in the Kimberley region, it proved capable of pulling massive freight loads across hundreds of miles while using less coal and water than previous models. In essence, the Red Devil was a final attempt to modernize steam in the face of diesel dominance, and it worked. Today, it's preserved in South Africa, studied by railway engineers and enthusiasts around the world. One highlight: during a trial run, the Red Devil covered nearly 435 miles, 700 kilometers in a single day, maintaining speeds over 60 miles per hour for hours on end, something that even many diesel locomotives would struggle to replicate on tough terrain. With performance and attitude in equal measure, the Red Devil showed us what happens when audacity meets innovation. But believe it or not, we're still not at the top. The next locomotive is more than a legend. It's a titan. For decades, it was the largest steam locomotive in operation anywhere on Earth. Union Pacific Big Boy. Few locomotives in history have earned a name as fitting as the Big Boy. Built between 1941 and 1944 by the American Locomotive Company, at the request of Union Pacific Railroad, the Big Boy was created to solve one massive challenge: hauling huge freight trains over the Rocky Mountains between Wyoming and Utah. To do that, engineers designed a steam locomotive on a scale never seen before. The Big Boy used an articulated 4-cylinder steam engine with a boiler pressure of 300 psi, generating roughly 6,300 horsepower. It could haul over 3,000 tons of freight through steep grades and tight mountain passes and still hit top speeds of 80 miles per hour, 130 kilometers per hour. From 0 to 60 miles per hour, it took around 80 to 90 seconds depending on the load. But this machine wasn't about acceleration. It was about unstoppable raw force. Its wheel arrangement? A mind-blowing 4884. 4 pilot wheels, 2 sets of 8 driving wheels, and 4 trailing wheels, all spread across a massive articulated frame that allowed it to navigate curves that would stop most engines in their tracks. Coil spring suspension with long travel capacity helped absorb impacts, and like all steam locomotives, it was manually operated, requiring serious teamwork to manage steam, water, and braking systems. Measuring 132 feet 40 meters long and weighing over 1.2 million pounds, the big boy was more than a train. It was a moving mountain of steel. The deep whistle, the thunder of the drive rods, and the roar of escaping steam gave it a presence few machines have ever matched. Only 25 units were built, numbered 4000 through 4024, and they operated mainly between Ogden, Utah, and Cheyenne, Wyoming. Some of the most demanding routes in the U.S. rail system. For decades, they stood as the pinnacle of American steam. While most were retired in the 1950s with the rise of diesel, the legend didn't end there. In 2019, Union Pacific restored Big Boy 4014, making it the only operating big boy in the world. It now tours the country, drawing massive crowds and keeping the legacy of steam alive for new generations. And here's a fun bit of trivia. The name Big Boy was coined by a factory worker who scrawled it in chalk on the side of the first unit during assembly. The name stuck, and the legend was born. If you think size was everything, just wait, because the next locomotive on this list wasn't just fast or powerful. It's a world record holder and the embodiment of British elegance, engineering, and speed. LNER Class A4-4468 Mallard. On July 3, 1938, the world witnessed something truly historic. The LNER Class A4-4468 Mallard, designed by the legendary Sir Nigel Gresley, set a record that still stands today, reaching a top speed of 126 miles per hour, 202.8 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest steam locomotive of all time. Built in the United Kingdom by the London and North Eastern Railway, the Mallard wasn't just about speed. It was also a statement of British innovation, showing that the UK was at the forefront of modern rail engineering during the golden era of steam. Powered by a 3-cylinder steam engine with a 250 psi boiler, the Mallard delivered around 2,200 horsepower. It accelerated from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 50 seconds, and hit its record-breaking speed on a slightly downhill stretch near Grantham during an official test run. The locomotive ran on a 462 Pacific configuration, ideal for smooth, high-speed travel. Rear-wheel drive and specially reinforced coil suspension allowed it to handle the stress of extreme speeds. One of the secrets to its success was its Kyle Chap exhaust system, which dramatically improved fuel efficiency and airflow, giving it that extra edge in performance. But the Mallard's most iconic feature was its aerodynamic design, with its vivid blue livery. Smooth curves and integrated smoke deflectors, it looked like a blue bullet tearing through the English countryside. Even by modern standards, its design feels futuristic. The Mallard served luxury passenger routes between London and Edinburgh, pulling premier trains like the Silver Jubilee. It wasn't just about getting there fast, it was about doing it with style, precision, and comfort. Today, Mallard is preserved at the National Railway Museum in York and remains one of the most celebrated locomotives in railway history. Nearly 90 years later, its record remains untouched, despite advances in rail technology. And here's something fascinating. The record-breaking speed was achieved in just a 2-mile stretch, and engineers at the time believed that with better track and more room, the Mallard could have gone even faster. It truly reached the limit of steam-powered performance, and still came out victorious. Now imagine this. If the Mallard represented the peak of steam speed and elegance, the final locomotive on our list is the complete opposite. A mechanical giant so large, it couldn't even fit on standard rail curves. Buckle up. This next engine will change the way you think about locomotives forever. PRR S1, the big engine. In 1939, the Pennsylvania Railroad unveiled a locomotive that looked like it belonged in a science fiction novel. The PRR S1, nicknamed the Big Engine, was an experimental steam locomotive built on a scale and with an ambition that had never been seen before. At nearly 140 feet long, 41 meters, and weighing over 1.3 million pounds, 600 metric tons. It remains the longest and heaviest passenger steam locomotive ever built. Designed by the famed industrial designer Raymond Loewy, the S1 had a futuristic, Art Deco look. But this machine wasn't just about looks. It was built to dominate. The S1 featured a 4-cylinder steam engine with a boiler pressure of 300 psi, producing an estimated 6,500 horsepower, enough to move long passenger trains at speeds over 100 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour. Its acceleration from 0 to 60 miles per hour took just about 50 seconds, and it could hold that speed with ease, even with a full consist. But the most unique feature was its 6-4-4-6 wheel configuration: 6 leading wheels, 2 sets of 4 driving wheels, and 6 trailing wheels. This layout was never used again. It was a bold attempt to merge freight locomotive power with express train speed, but it came with major trade-offs. Its massive frame struggled with curves. It was simply too big for most tracks, which severely limited its operational use. As a result, only one unit was ever built, making the S1 one of the rarest and most extreme steam locomotives in history. Still, it made an unforgettable impact. The S1 was the centerpiece of the 1939 New York World's Fair, drawing massive crowds and representing the cutting edge of American engineering. Its sleek silver and gray design, long elegant lines, and whisper-smooth body panels made it look more like a spaceship than a locomotive. Despite its limited service, the S1 inspired future designs and remains a symbol of ambition without limits. It pushed the boundaries of what steam power could achieve, even if the world wasn't quite ready for it. And here's an intriguing piece of lore. According to unofficial accounts, the S1 may have exceeded 120 miles per hour, 193 kilometers per hour in early testing, potentially making it the fastest American steam locomotive ever built. But since the tests were not formally recorded, the truth remains a part of its legend. From sleek British speed machines to towering American titans, what we've explored today weren't just locomotives. They were masterpieces of engineering, each representing a different era, a different philosophy, and a different kind of ambition. Some are still alive, others exist only in museums, photos, or stories passed down from generation to generation. But all of them left a powerful mark on the history of rail travel. So now tell us in the comments, which one would you love to see in action today? If you could ride any of these for just one day, which would you pick? And which of these do you think most deserves a second chance on the rails? If you enjoyed this journey through the world's rarest and most legendary steam locomotives, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss our deep dives into the most powerful, extreme, and fascinating machines ever built. It really helps the channel grow and lets YouTube know this content matters. New videos drop every week. We'll see you next time.